Master the skill of self-discipline, and you'll master your life. Clarity comes when you choose action over hesitation. Success comes not from avoiding failure, but from using it as fuel to keep moving forward. Have you ever felt like you're capable of more, but you're not sure how to tap into it? Do you find yourself stuck in a routine, wondering why things aren't changing, or why you can't break through to the next level? Maybe you've tried, but something's holding you back. The truth is, there are specific abilities you can master that will change your life for good. These aren't complicated skills that take years to learn. They're powerful, practical abilities that can help you take control, face challenges head on, and build the life you've always wanted. In this video, we're going to talk about those life-changing abilities you need to master. These are the skills that separate those who thrive from those who just get by. They are the keys to unlocking your potential, pushing past your limits, and becoming the person you're truly capable of being. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what it takes to start making lasting, meaningful change in your life. Now let's dive in. Number 1, build the courage to do what scares you most. You grow the moment you face what you avoid. And often, the very thing you avoid is exactly what you need to confront. You know it. You feel it. It's there every time you're quiet with yourself. It shows up in your thoughts, in your doubts, in those moments when you wonder if you're living too small. The truth is, if something scares you deeply, it's probably the direction you need to go. But fear tricks you. It makes things look bigger than they are. It convinces you that you're not ready. It keeps you trapped in the idea that comfort equals safety. It doesn't. Comfort is only comfortable until it starts hurting your potential. You weren't made to avoid life. You were made to live it fully and honestly. Doing what scares you is not reckless. It's responsible. It means you care about your growth. It means you want more for yourself. Even if it's hard to get, that's strength. That's how you build real courage. Not by pretending fear doesn't exist, but by choosing not to let it decide what you do next. Most people live around their fear. They build their lives inside of boundaries that fear created for them. They don't take risks. They don't speak up. They don't pursue what they care about. And then they wonder why they feel disconnected from their life. You can't feel fulfilled if you're always stepping back. Life doesn't meet you halfway. You have to step up to it, even when your legs are shaking. Courage isn't something that shows up one day like a gift. It's something you earn. Every time you decide to take action in the face of fear, you build a part of yourself that wasn't there before. You stretch your mind. You expand your beliefs. You start proving to yourself that you can be trusted. And when you trust yourself, everything changes. There are people who spend years avoiding what matters because the feeling of fear is so strong. But fear isn't a sign to stop. It's a signal to look closer. Why does this scare you? What are you afraid you'll lose? Or maybe the real question is, what are you afraid you'll become if you go through it? Most people are not afraid of failure. They're afraid of what success might demand from them. Doing what scares you breaks the old identity, the one that was built on survival, the one that kept you in small rooms and quiet corners. When you step into your fear, you challenge that version of yourself. You begin to create something new, a version of you who doesn't need approval, a version of you who leads, who speaks, who acts, who owns their path without needing permission. Fear never goes away completely, but it becomes smaller when you stop feeding it. If you want to build courage, you need to move. Even if it's a small step, you need to speak, even if your voice isn't perfect. You need to show up, even when your mind gives you every reason to sit back down. Because courage is not about the perfect moment. It's about choosing to move through the messy ones. Some of the most life-changing decisions are also the most terrifying. Leaving a job that's draining your spirit, walking away from a relationship that no longer aligns with who you are, standing up for yourself in a room where you've been silent for too long. These things are not easy, but they are necessary, and they are worth it. When you do the hard thing, you create a shift. Inside, you feel it. Your chest opens, your mind clears. You realize you didn't need to feel ready. You only needed to be willing to try, willing to look a little foolish, willing to get it wrong on your way to getting it right. That's where real growth begins. Your fear wants you to keep waiting. It tells you, not now. It says you're not prepared. But that's a trap, because if you keep waiting for confidence, you'll never get it. Confidence comes after you move, after you take the risk, after you do the scary thing and realize you survived it. That's when your self-belief grows. That's when your courage starts to take root. Think about the people you admire, not because they're perfect, but because they do what's hard. They speak up, they take chances. They push themselves, they make mistakes, yes, but they don't let fear freeze them. That kind of strength isn't reserved for a few. It's built, and you can build it too. Fear likes silence. It grows when you avoid it. So talk about it. Bring it into the light. Write it down. Name it. When you give fear a name, it starts to lose its power. When you put it in words, you realize it's not as big as it felt. And once you face it, you can do something about it. Sometimes what scares you most isn't a huge leap. Sometimes it's something as simple as being honest. Telling someone what you really think. Asking for what you really want. Saying no when it would be easier to say yes. These moments are powerful. They seem small, but they change your life over time. They create a version of you that stands tall, even when the world tries to shrink you. Doing what scares you is not a one-time thing. It's a way of life. It's a habit. You train it like a muscle, and the more you use it, the stronger you get. You learn to move through fear quicker. You recover faster. You stop letting your emotions take over. You start leading your life instead of reacting to it. When you live with courage, you live with direction. You're no longer guessing. You know what you stand for. You know where you're going. And that clarity is powerful. It pulls you forward. It keeps you from falling into the same traps. It keeps you from wasting time on things that don't align with who you are becoming. The hard truth is this: if you avoid fear, it will shape your life for you. It will make your decisions. It will shrink your world. But when you build courage, you take control back. You start deciding who you want to be and how you want to live. And that kind of life, a life lived by choice, not fear, is a life worth fighting for. So take the action you've been avoiding. Have the conversation you keep pushing away. Show up in the place that makes you nervous. Do the work that's been calling you but scaring you. Your future is on the other side of that fear. Your peace, your purpose, your strength, they're all there, waiting for you to show up. Number 2, master self-discipline to take control of your life. If you want to change your life, you need to take control of it. And that starts with self-discipline. Not just when you feel motivated, not only when it's convenient, but every day, no matter what the day brings. Self-discipline is what gives you the ability to follow through. It's what helps you stick to your plans, even when no one is watching. It's how you earn trust with yourself. You can't buy it. You can't borrow it. You build it. And every time you keep a promise to yourself, it gets stronger. Most people know what they need to do. They know what would make them healthier, happier, more successful. But knowing is never the problem. Doing is. And that's where self-discipline comes in. It turns ideas into action. It takes good intentions and turns them into real results. When you master self-discipline, your life starts to shift. You stop waiting for the right moment. You stop blaming your schedule, your past, your feelings. You begin to act from your values, not your moods. That's a turning point, because your feelings change all the time, but your goals should stay steady. Discipline makes sure you don't throw away your future just because today feels hard. You don't master self-discipline by talking about it. You master it by practicing it. Waking up when your body says sleep. Showing up when your mind says hide. Finishing when your emotions say quit. It's in those moments, when it's tempting to break your word, that real discipline is built. Not when it's easy, but when it costs something. Self-discipline is not about controlling everything. It's about controlling what you choose. Your habits, your time, your energy, and most importantly, your focus. If you can't stay focused, you won't stay consistent. And without consistency, progress is impossible. That's why discipline isn't just about pushing harder. It's about choosing smarter. There's a cost to living without discipline. You feel scattered. You chase short-term comfort instead of long-term growth. You end your days knowing you could have done more, but didn't. That kind of regret builds slowly and painfully. And once it settles in, it drains your confidence. But when you live with discipline, you begin to feel proud of how you show up. You feel strong, you feel capable, you feel like you can trust yourself again. That feeling, that deep internal respect, is what changes how you see yourself and how others see you too. Discipline teaches you patience, because not everything happens fast. Results take time, and most of the time, you won't feel like you're winning. But if you stay consistent, progress will come. Discipline is what keeps you moving forward. When progress is invisible, it helps you do the right thing today, knowing it's building a better tomorrow. Every goal you have requires self-discipline, whether it's your health, your career, your relationships, or your finances. Nothing improves without action. You can dream all day, but without discipline, that dream stays out of reach. It's the actions you take when no one is pushing you that create the life you want. Discipline is not punishment. It's self-respect. It means you value your future enough to work for it. You see the long game. You're not distracted by every little temptation that shows up. You know what matters, and you act like it matters. That's rare, and that's powerful. It's easy to scroll for hours. It's easy to put things off. It's easy to let your emotions drive your day. But all of that comes with a hidden cost. You lose your edge. You lose momentum. You start to feel like life is happening to you, not because of you. That's when people start drifting, and drift leads nowhere. When you live with discipline, you move with purpose. You set standards for yourself. You say, this is what I expect of me, and then you hold yourself to it. Not out of fear, not to impress anyone, but because you know who you want to be, and you're not going to wait for it to magically happen. You're going to build it, one decision at a time. You won't always feel like doing the work. That's not weakness. That's normal. What matters is that you do it anyway. You show up, you do what needs to be done, and by doing that, you start to reshape your identity. You become the kind of person who follows through. That's the kind of person who wins. Discipline also helps you handle pressure. Life will throw things at you. Stress, failure, disappointment. But when you've trained yourself to stick to your habits, you stay steady. You don't fall apart when things go wrong. You keep going, because you've built a system that doesn't rely on motivation. It runs on discipline. No one becomes strong by accident. No one builds a meaningful life by chance. It takes deliberate effort. It takes repeated decisions. And it takes the ability to say no, not just to distractions, but to excuses. That's what self-discipline really is. The refusal to keep lying to yourself about why you're not doing what you said you would do. Start small. Pick one habit. Stick to it. Prove to yourself that you can follow through. Then build from there. Discipline isn't about doing everything at once. It's about doing the important things consistently. You'll get better. You'll build momentum. And soon what felt hard will become automatic. The moment you take responsibility for your actions, you take control of your life. That's what discipline gives you. Control. Not over everything, but over enough to make real change. And when you have that control, you stop being a victim of your own habits. You become the architect of your results. Discipline won't always be exciting. It won't always get applause, but it will always be worth it. Because every time you show up, every time you push through, every time you choose effort over comfort, you build a future that's stronger, sharper, and more aligned with who you're trying to become. So take ownership of your time. Guard your focus. Stay committed when it gets hard. Keep your word to yourself. That's how you build strength. That's how you build character. And that's how you take control, not just of your day, but of your life. Master self-discipline to take control of your life, because no one else is coming to do it for you. It's your responsibility, and it's your power. Number 3, strengthen your focus. To protect your ability to focus is your greatest defense. Every time you let distractions win, you give away your energy. Every moment you lose your attention, you lose a little control over your life. Strengthening your focus isn't just about being productive. It's about protecting your mind, your peace, and your power. You only have so much mental energy each day, and what you give your attention to, you feed. If you're not careful, your energy will go to things that don't deserve it. Pointless scrolling, unimportant opinions, endless notifications. That's how people lose entire days, not from doing something meaningful, but from letting the world decide what they should care about. The strongest minds don't chase every thought. They choose what matters and stay with it. That's what focus is. It's the decision to stick with what's important, even when everything else is begging for your attention. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters with clarity and depth. Mental energy is limited. Just like your body gets tired, so does your brain. And when you waste that energy on things that don't move you forward, you're left drained. You feel scattered. You feel anxious. You feel like you're busy, but not making progress. That's the cost of living distracted. When you strengthen your focus, you regain control. You stop living in reaction mode. You stop letting every little thing interrupt your thoughts. You begin to protect your space, your time, your attention. And in doing that, you protect your potential. You can't focus when your environment is chaotic. You need to create space for clarity. That means cleaning up the clutter, turning off the noise, removing the apps, and shutting out the things that pull you in 100 directions. Focus doesn't happen by accident. You create it, you train it, you fight for it. Most people don't realize how much energy they're leaking. They bounce from one thing to another, never fully present. And they wonder why they feel tired all the time. It's not always physical. It's mental exhaustion from constant switching. Focus saves you from that. When you stay locked in on one thing at a time, your mind becomes sharper. Your thoughts become clearer. Your work becomes deeper. You stop running in circles, and you start moving in a straight line. That's the power of directed energy. It gets you where you want to go, faster, and with less stress. Strengthening focus also builds your confidence, because when you actually finish what you start, you begin to trust yourself. You stop doubting. You stop second-guessing. You know that when you say you'll do something, it will get done. That kind of belief in yourself is built through repeated focus over time. Your brain craves simplicity. It doesn't want to multitask. Multitasking wears it down. It breaks your rhythm and slows your thinking. Focus does the opposite. It creates flow. And in flow, you do your best work. You think better. You feel better. You become more engaged in what you're doing. To protect your focus, you need boundaries. You need to say no more often. You need to guard your mornings, your space, your attention, like something valuable, because it is. Don't hand your mind to every headline, every message, every meaningless distraction. Not everything deserves your awareness. Not everyone earns your presence. The world we live in profits off your distraction. Algorithms are designed to pull you in. Your job is to resist that pull, not just for productivity, but for your sanity, for your purpose, for your growth. Your mind wasn't made to be overloaded with meaningless noise all day long. There is freedom in focus. When you focus, you feel in control. You move with purpose. You feel aligned. You begin to experience your life. Instead of just reacting to it, you notice details. You connect deeper. You think clearer. That's what real presence gives you. When you focus, you also discover who you really are. Not the version of you that's trying to keep up with the world, but the one who knows what matters. The one who doesn't chase everything. The one who values peace over pressure and purpose over noise. That version of you can't survive in a distracted world. It needs space. It needs discipline. And it needs your protection. Start small. Block time. Set limits. Cut down the noise. Turn off what doesn't serve you. Not forever, just long enough to remember what it feels like to think clearly again. To breathe without pressure. To act without being pulled in 100 directions. Focus is a gift, but you have to choose it daily. You can't afford to live a life where your attention belongs to everything but your purpose. You have things to build, habits to shape, a mind to sharpen, dreams to chase. That all starts with protecting your focus. Train your brain to stay. Stay with the hard task. Stay with the silence. Stay with the book. Stay with the project. Don't run the second something feels boring or difficult. That's how you build mental endurance. That's how you create depth in a shallow world. People will say it's fine to always be online, to always respond, to always check. But you'll notice something: the more they stay plugged in, the more tired they feel. The more reactive they are, the less fulfilled they seem. That's not the life you want. You want clarity. You want direction. You want energy that flows where it matters most. You want to feel alive in what you're doing, not drained by everything you're avoiding. That comes from one thing: focus, not just once in a while, but every day, through habits, through choices, through discipline. The mind is a powerful tool, but it needs order. It needs space to think, to process, to reflect. If you never give it rest, it will burn out. Focus creates that rest. It quiets the noise. It brings you back to what matters. It reminds you that your time and energy are not unlimited, so you must protect them. Focus doesn't make life easier. It makes you stronger. It sharpens your thinking. It increases your power. It gives you control over your time, your emotions, and your direction. Without it, even the best plans fall apart. But with it, even the hardest goals become possible. So take your focus seriously. Strengthen it. Practice it. Train it like a skill, because it is one of the most valuable skills you'll ever have. Not just to get things done, but to live with intention, to live with presence, to live with power. Number 4, develop emotional strength to handle pain and rejection. If you want to grow into the person you're meant to be, you need emotional strength. Not just to feel good when things are going right, but to stay steady when things fall apart. Because at some point, you will feel pain. You will face rejection. You will lose something or someone you care about. That's part of life. And how you respond in those moments will define who you are. Pain doesn't wait for permission. It shows up in your life without warning. Sometimes it's sharp, sometimes it's quiet, but it always teaches you something. Emotional strength isn't about pretending you're not hurt. It's not about faking smiles or hiding your struggle. It's about facing the pain, standing in it, and learning how to carry it without letting it break you. When you don't have emotional strength, pain controls you. It keeps you stuck. You start to see yourself through the lens of what you've lost, not what you still have. Rejection starts to feel personal. You begin to think you're not enough, that something's wrong with you. But that's not true. Rejection is part of growth. It's not a signal that you're broken. It's a sign that something didn't fit, and maybe it wasn't supposed to. You have to build the kind of strength that can hold disappointment, the kind that knows how to stay calm when everything feels uncertain. You don't build that by avoiding hard emotions. You build it by walking through them, slowly, honestly, without judgment. When you stop running from pain, you take away its power. Most people try to numb their feelings. They distract themselves. They scroll, binge, shop, escape, anything to avoid sitting with what hurts. But healing doesn't come from avoidance. It comes from awareness. You have to look pain in the eye and say, "You're here, but you don't own me." That's how you build emotional strength. You stop treating your emotions like enemies. You stop believing that feeling pain means something is wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with feeling sad. There is nothing weak about feeling rejected. You're human, and feeling deeply means you care deeply. But what you do with those feelings, that's where your strength shows up. Learn to sit in discomfort without needing to fix it right away. Learn to breathe through the tightness in your chest. Let the tears come when they need to. You are not less worthy just because you feel broken sometimes. Emotional strength means knowing that pain is part of the journey, not the end of it. And when rejection hits, don't shrink. Don't let it turn you bitter. Don't let it harden your heart. Use it. Let it teach you resilience. Let it sharpen your clarity. Ask yourself, what can I learn here? What's this trying to teach me about myself? Rejection isn't always a loss. Sometimes it's a redirection. You won't always be chosen. Not everyone will see your value. Not every effort will get a reward, but your worth doesn't change just because someone couldn't see it. You don't need everyone to approve of you. You need to approve of yourself. That's emotional strength. The ability to stand tall, even when you're not applauded. There's a moment after the pain hits where you decide what happens next. Do you carry it and grow, or do you bury it and stay the same? If you keep avoiding your emotions, they don't disappear, they just get louder over time. But when you acknowledge them, when you feel them fully, and still choose to move forward, you take your power back. Developing emotional strength doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you feel with wisdom. You recognize your emotions, but you don't let them control your actions. You know when to speak, and when to listen, when to cry and when to rise. That balance makes you powerful. You need that strength in relationships too. People will hurt you, intentionally or not. Expectations will go unmet. Words will be said that can't be taken back. You need to be strong enough to stay kind, even when it's hard, to forgive, even when it's painful. Not because you're weak, but because you're strong enough not to carry hate. Emotional strength is quiet. It's not dramatic. It doesn't need attention. It's in the way you stay calm when someone else explodes. It's in the way you choose maturity over reaction. It's in the way you keep your integrity, even when your heart is heavy. That's real strength. You can't control what happens to you, but you can always control your response, and your response determines your growth. Every challenge you survive, every emotion you learn to manage, every rejection you bounce back from, that's a win. That's strength being built in real time. And you won't always feel strong. That's okay. Strength isn't about feeling invincible. It's about showing up even when you feel vulnerable. It's about saying, this hurts, but I'm not going to let it stop me. That mindset will carry you through anything. Be patient with yourself. Emotional growth takes time. Some wounds will take longer to heal. Some pain will come back when you least expect it. But every time you choose to face it, instead of hide from it, you're getting stronger. Every time you respond with grace, instead of anger, you're building character. That matters. Develop emotional strength because life will test you. Not once, but again and again. And every test is an opportunity. An invitation to rise. A chance to become more stable, more centered, more grounded in who you are. That strength won't just help you survive. It will help you lead, help you connect, help you inspire others who are still struggling to stand. Pain doesn't have to define you. Rejection doesn't have to shape your identity. You're allowed to feel everything and still choose to grow. You're allowed to hurt and still keep going. That's not weakness, that's power. So take the time to understand your emotions. Journal, talk to someone you trust. Reflect, learn, grow. Get to know yourself deeply. Because the more self-aware you are, the less shaken you'll be when life gets hard. And it will, but you'll be ready. Because you've chosen to build something inside you that can't be broken by disappointment. You've chosen strength, and that choice, repeated every day, will change your life. Develop emotional strength to handle pain and rejection. Because peace comes not from avoiding life's storms, but from learning you have the power to walk through them without losing yourself. Number 5. Learn to speak with clarity, power, and confidence. If you want to be heard, truly heard, you need to learn how to speak with clarity, power, and confidence. Not just when it's easy. Not just when you're with friends. You need to speak with strength in every room you walk into, because your voice matters. And if you don't use it, someone else will speak for you. You don't need to be loud to be powerful. You need to be certain. People don't listen to noise. They listen to truth. They listen to words that are real. Words that come from someone who believes in what they're saying. That's where your power begins. In belief. If you don't believe in your words, no one else will. Clarity is the foundation. It means saying what you mean without confusion. It means removing the fluff, the filler, the hesitation. Say it straight. Say it clean. Say it in a way that leaves no room for doubt. People respect directness when it's grounded in respect. When your words are clear, your message is strong. Most people talk in circles. They say too much or they say too little. They second-guess themselves in the middle of a sentence. And the moment you start to sound unsure, people stop listening. Not because they're rude, but because uncertainty doesn't hold attention. Confidence does. To speak with power, you must know what you stand for. That means spending time thinking, not just reacting. It means reflecting on your values, your goals, your standards. Power in speech doesn't come from volume. It comes from conviction. From knowing this is what I believe, this is who I am, this is where I'm going, and speaking from that place. Confidence isn't arrogance. It's certainty built through preparation. You prepare your thoughts. You organize your ideas. You learn how to express them clearly, so that when you speak, you're not guessing, you're delivering. The people who speak well aren't always the smartest. They're the most prepared. They've practiced their message. They've thought it through. People respect clarity because it shows you respect their time. You're not rambling. You're not hiding. You're not trying to impress. You're just being real, being honest, being direct. That's rare, and that's what makes it powerful. Confidence also comes from how you carry yourself. Your voice is more than words. It's your tone, your posture, your eye contact, your stillness. If your body says, "I don't believe in what I'm saying," then your words won't land. But if you stand tall, if your tone is calm and firm, if you look people in the eye, they listen differently, because now they feel your presence. And presence speaks louder than words ever will. To build confidence in your voice, you must be willing to use it, even when it shakes. Speak up in meetings. Ask the hard questions. Share your opinion, even if it's unpopular. That's how you grow. You don't wait until you're perfect. You get better by doing. You learn to trust your voice by using it again and again. There's strength in speaking when it's uncomfortable, when you say what others are afraid to say, not to provoke, but to bring truth into the room. Every time you speak with honesty, you build more trust in yourself. That trust turns into confidence, and that confidence builds more clarity. You must also learn how to pause. Silence isn't weakness. It's a tool. When you pause, you create space. Space for others to think. Space for your words to land. People rush their words when they're nervous. But when you pause with intention, you take control of the moment. That's what powerful speakers do. They guide the room, not with speed, but with presence. Don't hide behind fancy words. Speak simply. Speak like you're talking to someone you care about. That's how people connect. It's not about sounding smart. It's about being understood. The most impactful speakers aren't complicated. They're clear, direct, and real. You also need to stop apologizing for your voice. Stop saying sorry, but when you have a point to make. Stop shrinking your message with disclaimers. If you've thought it through and it matters to you, say it without asking for permission. That's how leaders speak. And when people disagree, let them. Speaking with confidence doesn't mean everyone will like you. It means you're willing to be misunderstood while standing for what matters. You're not here to please everyone. You're here to speak truth with clarity and power. That will challenge people. That's okay. That's the point. Confidence grows when you keep your word. When you say you'll speak up and you do. When you say you'll contribute and you do. Every small promise you keep builds the foundation of trust. And from that trust you speak with more strength, more certainty, more presence. Speaking with power doesn't mean talking more. It means choosing your words with care. It means asking questions that matter. It means staying calm in tension. It means knowing how to shift the energy in a room, not by force but by focus. Your words shape how people see you. Use them wisely. This skill will change your life. It will help you lead. It will help you teach. It will help you love better. Because when you can speak clearly, others feel safe around you. When you speak with confidence, people believe you. And when you speak with power, they remember you. It's not about being perfect. You will make mistakes. You will misspeak. But the more you practice, the more you refine. And that refinement builds a voice that is sharp, strong, and steady. If you want your life to change, learn to speak like someone who matters, because you do. Speak like someone who's done the work to know what they believe. Speak like someone who knows their voice isn't just sound, it's a tool for impact. You don't need to be born with confidence, you build it. You don't need to be the loudest, you need to be the clearest. You don't need to have all the answers. You need to have the courage to speak from the truth you've earned. So start where you are. Practice daily. Read more. Rate more. Speak more. Reflect more. Get feedback. Learn how to say more with less. Learn how to slow down when you want to rush. Learn how to breathe when you feel pressure. Learn how to speak with clarity, power, and confidence. Because the world listens to people who believe in what they're saying. Be one of those people. Number 6. Train your mind to choose growth over comfort daily. Every day you have a choice to make. Stay where it feels easy, or move toward what challenges you. And that choice decides whether you grow or stay the same. If you want real change in your life, you must train your mind to choose growth over comfort every single day. Growth is uncomfortable. It pushes you, stretches you, and sometimes it hurts. But nothing meaningful ever comes from always playing it safe. Comfort is familiar. It's the path of least resistance. It tells you you're fine the way you are. It whispers that tomorrow's a better day to start. But growth doesn't wait for perfect timing. Growth happens the moment you decide that your future matters more than your convenience. It begins when you stop listening to fear and start acting with intention. Your mind is powerful, but it's also stubborn. It likes routine. It resists change. It pulls you back to what's easy because it wants to protect you. But what it calls protection can also be limitation. That's why training your mind is essential. You have to show it again and again that growth is not a threat. It's the way forward. Training your mind means creating habits that keep you sharp. It means waking up and doing what matters, even when you don't feel like it. It's reading when your mind wants to scroll. It's moving your body when you'd rather sit. It's speaking up when silence feels more comfortable. And when your thoughts start to pull you toward old patterns, you stop, you notice, and you redirect. That's mental strength. That's training in action. Growth happens in the small, unseen moments. The early mornings, the quiet evenings, the decisions no one claps for. Every time you show up for yourself, you make it easier to show up again tomorrow. Your brain starts to shift. Your tolerance for discomfort increases. You begin to want the hard things, because you know that's where the progress lives. Comfort keeps you on repeat. You wake up, do the same thing, think the same thoughts, and expect something to change. But nothing changes until you do. Nothing grows until you choose to outgrow the habits, the people, and the patterns that keep you stuck. That's a hard truth, but it's a freeing one, because it puts the power back in your hands. Choosing growth means saying yes to the workout when it's cold. It means having the hard conversation when silence feels easier. It means pushing through the awkward stage of learning something new. It means failing and showing up again. Because growth is never smooth. It's messy. It's full of doubt. But if you keep showing up, you get better. And with time, you become someone you're proud of. Train your mind to lean into challenge, to welcome the hard days, to see resistance not as a stop sign, but as a signal you're doing something important. The more you lean into challenge, the more normal it becomes. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. What felt too big becomes your new standard. Your comfort zone might feel good, but it also keeps you small. It keeps your skills weak, your voice quiet, your dreams distant. You cannot become more by doing less. Every level of growth requires you to leave behind something that used to feel safe. A belief, a habit, a version of yourself that no longer fits who you're becoming. And yes, growth is scary. It's supposed to be. But fear is not a reason to stop. It's a reason to start. It means you're doing something that matters, something that's going to stretch you, something that's going to reveal the parts of you that have been waiting to rise. If you only move when it's easy, you will never experience the strength that lives on the other side of discomfort. So how do you train your mind to choose growth? First, get clear on why it matters. What do you want for your life? Who do you want to become? If your answer doesn't make you feel something, go deeper. Growth needs a reason. Without it, comfort will win every time. Then build structure around your goals. Don't leave it up to chance. Set the alarm. Block the time. Remove distractions. Make the decision before the moment comes. Because when you're tired, your mind will default to easy. But when you've already decided, you don't have to think. You just act. Next, celebrate the effort. Not just the result. Every time you show up when it's hard, that's a win. Every time you choose growth, even in the smallest way, you reinforce the mindset. Progress is not always visible right away, but it's always building. Don't wait until it's obvious. Trust the process now. You also have to watch your language. The words you speak shape your choices. Stop saying I can't. Start saying I'm learning. Stop saying I'm not ready. Start saying I'm getting ready. That shift in language trains your brain to see growth as possible, even if it's not comfortable yet. Surround yourself with people who push you, who challenge your thinking, who hold you to a higher standard. Comfort loves company, but so does growth. You just have to find the right circle. If you're always the strongest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And most of all, stay consistent. You don't need to be perfect. You need to keep going. Miss a day, get back up. Feel like quitting, do it anyway. That's how you win. Not by waiting to feel ready, but by acting through the resistance. The more you do this, the more your mind adapts. The more you choose growth, the less appealing comfort becomes. You are not meant to stay the same. You are meant to evolve, to rise, to stretch into your full capacity. But you must choose it. You must wake up every day and remind yourself, I am not here to coast, I am here to grow, and I will not let comfort steal another day of my potential. Train your mind daily. Feed it with good information. Challenge it with bold actions. Strengthen it through discipline. Free it from excuses. And watch what happens when you stop giving your energy to ease and start giving it to expansion. Growth is hard, but staying stuck is harder. Choose your hard wisely. Train your mind to choose growth over comfort, not once, not sometimes, but daily. That's the path that builds strength. That's the path that creates change. That's the path to becoming the person you were always meant to be. Number 7, sharpen your ability to make fast, hard decisions. You're going to be faced with hard choices, and often you won't have the luxury of time. That's why you need to sharpen your ability to make fast, hard decisions. Not rushed, not reckless, but fast and clear. Because the longer you hesitate, the more space you give to doubt, fear, and regret. Indecision wastes your energy. It drains your focus. It keeps you spinning in your head while life moves forward without you. Every time you avoid making a decision, you stay stuck. And nothing kills progress faster than standing still when you should be moving forward. The truth is, most people aren't bad at making decisions. They're afraid of being wrong. They fear the consequences. They want certainty, and they wait for the perfect answer. But the perfect answer rarely exists. And while you're searching for it, opportunities slip away. If you want to move your life forward, you have to get comfortable making hard calls. You have to train yourself to trust your thinking. Not every decision will be right, but not deciding is worse than choosing the wrong thing and learning from it. Start by getting clear on what matters to you. Your values should guide your choices. If you don't know what you stand for, you'll chase what feels good in the moment. You'll say yes when you mean no. You'll stay when you should leave. But when you know your values, clarity, growth, responsibility, freedom, or whatever drives you, then every decision becomes easier. You don't need to overthink. You align your action with your principle, and you move. Making hard decisions quickly doesn't mean you ignore the facts. It means you stop using information as a delay tactic. Gather what you need. Look at the risks. Understand the impact. Then decide. Move. Don't fall into the trap of analysis that goes nowhere. Information is only powerful if it leads to action. Sometimes the hard decision is to say no, to walk away from something that's familiar but no longer right for you. Sometimes it's to speak up and risk conflict. Sometimes it's to start something before you feel ready. These are the decisions that shape your path. They're uncomfortable, but they build strength. To sharpen this ability, you must practice. Make small decisions faster. Pick a direction and go. Choose what you're doing today and commit. Say what you mean without apologizing. Build confidence by acting quickly and dealing with the outcome. Every time you do this, your brain learns it can handle the pressure. It becomes easier next time. Don't make decisions based on what's easiest now. Make them based on who you want to become. Most people stay the same because they only choose what feels good in the moment. That's comfort, not progress. Growth comes from doing what's right, not what's easy. You also have to stop outsourcing your decisions. Don't always look for someone else to tell you what to do. Get input if needed, but stop waiting for permission. This is your life. Your choices are your responsibility. No one knows your path better than you do. If you fear making the wrong move, remember this. Every strong person you admire has made wrong decisions. What sets them apart is how fast they learn and how fast they get back up. Mistakes aren't the enemy. Fear is, hesitation is, doubt is. You overcome those by building a habit of decisive action. Be honest with yourself. What have you been putting off? What decision have you been avoiding because it's uncomfortable? Maybe it's time to cut off distractions. Maybe it's time to let go of the person who's holding you back. Maybe it's time to leave the job that's draining your soul. Whatever it is, the longer you wait, the more power you give away. A strong decision doesn't mean you're always right. It means you're willing to take responsibility. And responsibility creates growth. It makes you pay attention. It sharpens your thinking. It raises your standards. When you know your choices matter, you start choosing more wisely. Train your mind to trust your judgment. Reflect on past choices. What worked? What didn't? What patterns do you notice? Learn from yourself. Keep track. Build awareness. Because the more aware you are, the more confident you become. You stop reacting and start choosing with intention. Fast decisions don't mean rushing without thinking. They mean cutting off what doesn't matter and focusing on what does. You don't need to analyze every possible scenario. You need to ask, what outcome do I want? What's the risk if I wait? What will I gain if I act now? The brain works best with constraints. Give yourself limits. Decide by the end of the day. Take 5 minutes to make a plan. Say yes or no without dragging it out. These small boundaries create speed, and speed builds momentum. Some people think waiting is safer, but waiting can be the riskiest move of all. You wait too long, and the opportunity's gone. You wait too long, and your passion fades. You wait too long, and someone else steps into the space you were meant to fill. Speed matters, not recklessness, but deliberate speed, intentional action. This mindset isn't about being impulsive. It's about building the strength to move forward when most people freeze. When pressure rises, your training takes over. And the more decisions you make, the better you get. The sharper your instincts become. The faster you bounce back when things don't go your way. Don't let fear of failure keep you from starting. Failure is part of the process. It's not the opposite of progress. It's part of it. Each hard choice you make prepares you for the next. It builds the mindset of someone who doesn't run when things get real. Making hard decisions fast doesn't mean you're fearless. It means you've made peace with the fear. You don't avoid it, you face it and move anyway. You decide to lead your life instead of being led by hesitation. This one skill can change everything. It will make you a better leader, a stronger person, and a more confident human being. It will help you break cycles. It will help you take ownership. It will help you build the kind of life that doesn't depend on what others choose, but on what you decide. So start now. Make the call. Send the message. Draw the line. Step forward. Choose what challenges you. Accept what it brings, and then keep going. Sharpen your ability to make fast, hard decisions. That's how you gain control of your life. That's how you build momentum. That's how you lead yourself and others with strength, clarity, and purpose. Number 8. Practice listening fully to understand, not to react. Most people hear, but very few truly listen. Listening to understand is a skill, one that separates strong minds from reactive ones. If you want better relationships, clearer communication, and more peace in your life, you have to learn to listen, not to react, but to understand. It sounds simple, but it takes work. Real listening isn't passive, it's active. It's a choice. It's a discipline. When you listen only to reply, you're not really present. You're inside your own head, building your response, getting ready to speak. You miss tone, you miss meaning, you miss what's under the words. And when you do that, you damage connection. You lose trust. You miss chances to really learn. People want to be heard. They want to feel like their words matter. And when you give someone your full attention without jumping in, without cutting them off, without defending yourself, that's rare. And rare things are powerful. That's what builds influence. That's what creates strong bonds. If you want to master this skill, start by slowing down. When someone speaks, stop everything else. Put down your phone. Stop forming a reply. Just listen. Focus on their words. Pay attention to their tone, their body language, their pace. Ask yourself, what are they really saying? Most of the time, the real message isn't in the words. It's in the feeling behind them. When you listen to understand, you're not trying to fix. You're not trying to prove a point. You're not waiting to take the stage. You're being present. You're giving someone space to express themselves fully. That kind of listening is rare, but it's life-changing. Listening fully means asking better questions. Not to corner the other person, but to open the door wider. Can you explain more? What made you feel that way? What do you need right now? These kinds of questions shift the energy. They show that you care, and that opens the door to trust. You can't understand if you're interrupting. You can't learn if you're busy defending. Most people argue to protect their ego, but strong people don't need to win every conversation. They choose to understand first. They know that respect comes from listening, even when they disagree. Reactions are fast. They're emotional. They often come from pain, pride, or fear. But understanding takes strength. It takes intention. It says, I value clarity more than being right. That mindset creates growth in you and in the people around you. Listening without reacting doesn't mean you agree with everything. It means you're willing to hear it out. You give space for expression before you speak your part. And when it's time to respond, your words carry more weight because they're built on real understanding, not just emotion. You learn the most when you listen the deepest. Everyone has a story. Everyone has a reason for how they think, how they feel, how they show up. If you dismiss people before they finish speaking, you never get to see the full picture. You're reacting to your assumptions, not their truth. Your mind will want to jump in. It'll want to defend, correct, or argue. That's natural, but that's where the discipline comes in. You pause, you breathe, you wait, you let them finish. And then, only then, do you speak. And you speak with clarity, not heat. This doesn't just help you with others. It sharpens your own thinking. When you stop reacting to everything, you create space to choose your responses. That space gives you power. You're not pulled around by emotions or other people's energy. You stay centered. You stay grounded. Listening deeply also changes how people see you. When people feel heard, they relax. They soften. They stop fighting. They open up. And in that space, real communication can happen. That's how conflicts get resolved. That's how relationships heal. That's how respect grows. Make it your mission to listen more than you speak. Let others finish their thoughts. Don't interrupt to correct. Don't rush to explain. Just hear them out. Even if it's hard, even if you disagree, especially then, because those are the moments where growth happens. If someone's in pain, don't try to fix it right away. Listen. Sit with it. Let them feel seen. If someone's angry, don't match their tone. Stay calm. Stay curious. Ask what's behind it. That's how you stay in control of yourself and create a space where others can do the same. Most people listen to defend their own view. But if you want to stand out, if you want to grow, you have to listen to understand theirs. That doesn't mean you give up your perspective. It means you add more to it. You get a fuller picture. You learn something new. Start practicing this every day. In small conversations, in hard talks, with your friends, your family, your team. Every time you feel the urge to jump in, hold back for just a second longer. Every time you want to argue, ask a question. Instead, watch what happens. And when it's your turn to speak, choose words that build, not break. Speak with calm. Speak with thought. Speak in a way that shows you were really listening. People remember how you make them feel. And when you make someone feel understood, you create trust that lasts. This is how leaders grow. This is how relationships improve. This is how clarity gets built. Not by shouting louder, but by listening better. Not by reacting faster, but by responding with strength and calm. You won't get this perfect right away. That's okay. Growth takes practice. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is progress. Every time you catch yourself reacting and choose instead to listen, you win. You grow. You build the kind of presence that changes lives. Train yourself to listen with full attention. Not halfway. Not while thinking about your reply. But fully, intentionally, completely. That's where influence begins. That's where peace begins. That's where growth begins. Practice listening fully to understand, not to react. Because when you master this, you don't just hear more. You become more. You become someone others trust. Someone others want to follow. Someone who makes a real difference. Number 9. Take full responsibility for everything in your life. Taking full responsibility for everything in your life is not just a choice. It's a fundamental shift in how you see yourself and the world. It's about accepting that everything, the good, the bad, the easy, and the difficult, is in your hands. This isn't about blame, it's about ownership. It's about recognizing that you have the power to change, grow, and shape your reality, no matter the circumstances. The moment you stop blaming others and start taking full responsibility, your life will change forever. Most people fall into the trap of externalizing their problems. They look at their circumstances, their upbringing, their environment, and they point fingers. They blame their parents, their teachers, their bosses, their friends, or even the economy. But here's the truth. When you blame, you give away your power. You make yourself a victim of life instead of a creator of it. Blame keeps you stuck, prevents you from growing, and keeps you tied to a past that you can no longer control. Now let me be clear. Taking responsibility doesn't mean accepting everything that happens to you as your fault. It means accepting that no matter what happens, you get to decide how to respond. Life will throw obstacles in your path. People will disappoint you. Situations will feel unfair. But how you choose to react, how you choose to move forward, and how you choose to grow is entirely up to you. That's the power of responsibility. When you take full responsibility, you take control. You take control of your emotions, your reactions, and your decisions. You stop waiting for someone to fix things or make things right. You understand that no one else can give you what you need or make things happen for you. The power lies in your own hands. This mentality isn't easy to develop, but it's one of the most empowering shifts you can make in your life. The most powerful thing about taking responsibility is that it puts you in charge of your future. The minute you stop blaming others and start owning your decisions and actions, you're no longer a passenger in your life. You're the driver. When you blame others, you're saying it's not up to me. But when you take responsibility, you're saying, this is up to me. I have control. And with that mindset, you start making decisions that propel you forward, instead of waiting for things to change on their own. There's a major difference between making excuses and taking responsibility. Excuses keep you stuck in a cycle of inaction and disappointment. They protect your ego, but they prevent you from growing. When you take responsibility, you don't make excuses. You look at your situation, see where you could have done better, and then you take action to fix it. Excuses tell you it's someone else's fault, but responsibility tells you that change starts with you. You can't change the past, but you can take responsibility for how you move forward from it. Taking responsibility also means facing the consequences of your actions. It means accepting that when you make a decision, you own the outcome, whether it's good or bad. Life isn't about avoiding mistakes. It's about learning from them and doing better next time. The moment you stop blaming others for your failures and start seeing them as lessons, you unlock the ability to improve. You stop feeling like a victim and start feeling like a victor. When you take full responsibility, you stop waiting for things to be perfect before you act. Perfection is an illusion. Waiting for everything to align perfectly is a trap that keeps you stuck. Life will never be perfect. Your circumstances will never be ideal. But if you wait for everything to be right, you'll never take action. By taking responsibility, you acknowledge that there will always be challenges, but you can overcome them. You can find a way, and you can make progress, no matter how imperfect the journey may be. Taking responsibility also means being honest with yourself. It means taking a hard look at the choices you've made and acknowledging the role you played in them. It's easy to blame others or make excuses, but true growth comes from self-reflection. When you take responsibility, you ask yourself, what could I have done differently? You stop making excuses and start making improvements. It's uncomfortable, but it's necessary for progress. One of the greatest challenges of taking responsibility is confronting your own weaknesses. It's easy to point the finger at others, but when you take full responsibility, you have to acknowledge where you've fallen short. It might be hard to accept that you've made mistakes, or that you could have done better, but that's where growth happens. Growth happens when you admit your mistakes, learn from them, and take steps to improve. You'll never reach your full potential by avoiding accountability. The greatest leaders and achievers are the ones who take responsibility for their actions, their words, and their outcomes. Another powerful aspect of taking responsibility is that it shifts the way you view other people. When you take responsibility for your own life, you stop blaming others for your situation. You stop expecting others to change, and instead, you focus on what you can do. You realize that people are not responsible for your happiness or success. You are. This shift in mindset is incredibly freeing. You no longer feel like a victim of your circumstances or the people around you. You take control of your life. Taking responsibility doesn't mean carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. It doesn't mean you have to do everything alone, or that you can't ask for help. It means recognizing that you are the one who gets to decide what happens next. It means understanding that you can influence your situation through your actions and choices. It means acknowledging that your decisions matter, and that you are the one who has to live with them. But it also means that you have the power to change them. You have the power to rewrite your story at any time. It's time to stop waiting for someone else to take charge of your life. It's time to stop blaming others and start taking full responsibility for everything that's happening in your life. Own your decisions, own your failures, and own your successes. No more excuses, no more waiting for the right time. Take responsibility for your life, and you'll find the strength, power, and freedom to create the life you've always dreamed of. You are in control. You always have been. Now it's time to act like it. Number 10. Challenge your limits to discover who you really are. You'll never know who you truly are until you push yourself beyond what you think you're capable of. The most powerful growth happens when you challenge your limits. It's not just about what you can do today, but about what you discover about yourself in the process. You may think you've reached your potential, but I assure you, the true measure of your strength, resilience, and ability is far beyond what you've experienced so far. Challenge your limits, and you'll open the door to new possibilities, new strengths, and a deeper understanding of your true potential. The key to discovering who you really are is to step out of your comfort zone. Comfort is a trap. It's where we settle into routine and stop growing. It's easy to stay in what's familiar, but the moment you choose comfort, you choose stagnation. You choose to remain in a place where growth doesn't happen. Challenging your limits means saying goodbye to the easy way and embracing the discomfort of growth. Every time you push yourself beyond what feels comfortable, you're telling your mind and body that there's more. You're telling yourself that you're capable of more. And with each challenge you face, you get to discover something new about yourself. You uncover hidden strengths, talents, and resilience you never knew you had. But that only happens when you decide to test the boundaries you've set for yourself. If you've been playing it safe, it's time to stop. The life you want is not in the safe zone. It's outside the limits you've created. Every successful person you admire has reached their highest point by doing what others wouldn't do. They've faced the fear, the doubt, and the uncertainty, and they've moved through it. They didn't settle for the limits that others placed on them or the ones they placed on themselves. Instead, they challenged them and found new heights. You can do this too. The first step is to take action, no matter how small it may seem. When you push your limits, it doesn't always have to be a massive leap. It can be as simple as doing something that scares you, stepping up to a challenge you've been avoiding, or pursuing a goal that feels out of reach. These small actions will build up and create momentum. Soon you'll realize that the limitations you once believed were holding you back were nothing more than stories you told yourself. When you challenge your limits, you must be willing to fail. Failure is not something to fear. In fact, it's something you need to embrace. Failure teaches you lessons success never will. Every time you fall short, you learn how to stand up again. You learn what didn't work and how to do it better next time. Every successful person has failed along the way, but they didn't let failure stop them. They took the lessons from it and kept moving forward. This is the power of challenging your limits. It's not about being perfect. It's about growth. It's about being willing to try, even when you don't have all the answers. It's about putting yourself in situations where you don't feel completely ready, but knowing you'll rise to the challenge. Your limits are only in your mind. They're created by the thoughts you believe and the boundaries you've placed around yourself. The truth is, you're capable of so much more than you realize. You'll discover who you really are when you face the hard stuff, when you feel the fear and do it anyway, when you're tested and choose to keep going despite the obstacles in your path. This is when you uncover the depth of your strength. This is when you unlock the power that's been within you all along. Think about the times when you've stretched yourself. Whether it was running that extra mile, tackling a project you didn't think you were ready for, or having a difficult conversation that pushed you out of your comfort zone. Remember how you felt afterward. There was a sense of pride, wasn't there? A feeling of accomplishment that came from knowing you did something hard. That sense of growth and achievement is what keeps you going. It's a sign that you're moving forward and evolving. Challenging your limits requires resilience. You'll face resistance, you'll encounter setbacks, and you'll want to give up at times. But it's in those moments that you need to dig deeper. It's in those moments that your character is forged. The more you challenge your limits, the stronger you become. Every time you push through, you build the mental and emotional muscle necessary to take on even greater challenges in the future. This is why it's so important to keep pushing. Because the person you are right now is not the person you're meant to be. You have untapped potential that can only be revealed when you go beyond your current limits. When you step into the unknown, you invite the possibility of growth. You allow yourself to evolve into the person you're capable of becoming. The journey isn't easy, but it's worth it. You're not meant to live a life of mediocrity. You're not meant to play small. Life is too short to settle for less than your best. When you challenge your limits, you give yourself permission to live fully, to stretch yourself, and to see what you're truly capable of. You stop living by the rules you've set for yourself, and you start living by your potential. Start small, but dream big. Push yourself just a little bit further than you did yesterday. If you've been comfortable in your routine, break free from it. Do something that scares you. Take on a challenge that feels out of your league. Then do it again. Each time you test your limits, you'll get closer to the person you're meant to become. Remember, the greatest rewards in life come when you're willing to go past your boundaries. You discover new abilities, new strengths, and new opportunities that you never thought were possible. Life has so much more to offer when you stop limiting yourself and start embracing the challenges ahead. You are not bound by the limits you think you have. You're bound only by what you believe about yourself. When you challenge those beliefs, you break through the barriers holding you back. You push yourself to be stronger, more resilient, and more capable than you ever imagined. Don't let fear stop you. Don't let comfort hold you back. Challenge your limits and discover who you really are. Because when you do, you'll realize that there's nothing you can't accomplish. You'll unlock a version of yourself that's stronger, more confident, and more powerful than you ever thought possible. The journey won't be easy, but it will be worth it. And that's when you'll know the true power of who you really are.